You know who I am. It is the DOUG here again, this time for his Wide World of Sports. That's right, I'm going to talk about sports that's going on right now, excluding the NFL. That will talk about what happened all Sunday, tomorrow, my picks. But let's talk about some basketball now. Last week, the Lakers fired original head coach Mike Brown, which I originally thought was a bad move just because of the fact it was so early in the year. It didn't make any sense to me. It's like, why? Why would you do that? I mean, it made no sense to me, but, it is what it is. But since they have fired Brown, they've been 2-0. So maybe it will, who knows? It could still be a fail depending on what the new head coach, Mike D'Antonio, sorry for mispronouncing, does. Now, surprisingly enough, I was surprised because I think everyone thought it was going to be Mr. P. Jack, or, if you don't know who that is, you don't know basketball. Mr. Jackson, of course. Surprised a lot of people would be a good fit. Maybe, but I originally thought they should not even fired Mike Brown because of this. Yeah, you went 1-3, but it was early in the season. We've seen plenty of times where NBA teams have started out looking like, looking like pigs in a sweat hog, being terrible to making the playoffs. But the Lakers are meshing now. Maybe it's because they fired Mike. Who knows? But they're meshing. They're doing what they need to do. So good for them. Now, since they've hired Mike D'Antonio, maybe they put him back in the playoff talk. Because I originally wanted to take him out when Mike Brown got fired, but that was me. Continuing on the basketball, I know it's early. Let's take a look. Don't you hate when cameras do that, folks? I do apologize for that little blip. Let's talk about it. We still have some undefeated teams right now in the NBA. The New York Knicks, surprisingly, which I think surprises everybody, and that's it. Now, of course, I think the most disappointing team right now, starting out the gate, has got to be the Washington Wizards. They are 0-5. Closely followed by the Detroit Pistons, who are 0-7. The only two teams right now to not win a game. I mean, come on, even Canada, the Toronto Raptors, have won a game. I'm going to be honest. I think the way it's looking, I think I might be shooting myself in the foot here. I say Detroit probably gets, depending on what happens, they're probably going to get the first pick of the NBA draft because they just play terrible. I mean, Chicago Bulls are lucky they play in the Eastern Central Conference because Milwaukee Bucks are decent, Indiana Pacers are decent, Cleveland Cavaliers, oh God, they suck since LeBron James left, and the Pistons, well, like I said, they're 0-7. That shouldn't surprise anyone. But Miami, I'm not surprised how they're doing. I'm really surprised about New York, if anything. Oklahoma City Thunder, they could be a threat, but it's still early. You don't know what's going to happen. But I know one thing, the Clippers are enjoying the fact they have a lead over the Lakers, which is always fun to say. Now, moving on from NBA, before we get to college, let's talk about NASCAR. What in the world happened at Phoenix last night, folks? It was a very, very weird. Before I even get to the incident that happened off the racetrack, let's first congratulate the winner of last night's race. Which, depending who you are, you don't like it. Because, well, people don't like him too well, and it was Kevin Harvick. Some people like him, some don't. It is what it is. Now, as far as for the standings, which is I think very, very, very funny, just because I think it's hilarious, is the fact of we have a very close, very, very close race, unlike years past where it's not been. I mean, Brad Keselowski is back in the lead, but he's only holding it by 20. Casey Kane's only out by 50. And Mr. Clint Boyer is only out of it by 52. So, stranger things have happened. Still up for grabs. I think Brad hopefully should hold it because I don't want Jimmy Johnson to win it again. That'd be terrible. Now let's go to what went from NASCAR to a UFC fight. Red causes brawl in garage. Oh dear God. Between Jeff Gordon and Clint Boyle, either because of his race crew or whoever, depending if you saw the video. Now Gordon's usually the calmer milk and cookies kind of guy. He's not the one usually arguing. Now, it's pretty sad the police had to get in to break it up. Okay, that's the. Now Gordon's mad because Clint ran into him. I think that was the 5th time he's ran into him this year, causing a wreck. And I do believe this. I think NASCAR is probably going to deliver the boom on somebody. I think it's probably going to be Clint Boyle's team. That's my opinion. But who knows with NASCAR right now. But Boyle probably does not rule out retaliating against Gordon in the season finale coming up. So, I do want to know what you guys think of that brawl. I think, you know what, NASCAR, just send them to UFC, let them train, let them beat the living daylights out of each other so Gordon can beat them up. You know, because Gordon's got cheated a few times because of Clint Boyer, but that's my opinion. So, yeah, that was, unfortunately, if you're a NASCAR fan, you didn't want to see you don't want to see that. It makes the sport look bad, and it is what it is, though. Now, the last part of the video, my Wide Water Sports Talk, which I know probably not my best. You're going to remember this is my first time doing it, so don't hate too much on me, is the BCS standings. First, I got to say congratulations to Texas A&M on beating Alabama. Wow. Alabama's dreams and SEC dreams of making a title again for the BCS appearance may have gone up in smoke depending on what happens. Now, right now, depending who you are, you either think Oregon's number 1 or Kansas State. Now, to me, you know, I usually base everything on who you've played. I don't care if you blew them out, and I don't care how you won as long as you won. I don't care if it's a blood. I don't care if it's by 3 freaking points. Because, hey, that's me. A win's a winner, half the points in this one. Kansas State Wildcats, you know, probably the surprise of the college world right now. They haven't lost. I mean, if you take a look at who they played, I mean, they beat Missouri State. That's Miami of Florida. They're usually a decent team. North Texans, ugh. Oklahoma, always an impressive school. Kansas, okay, let's be honest. Kansas is the Kansas Blue Jays or Hawks, whatever they go by. They're not known for football. They're known for college basketball. So yeah, Ohio State, again, not that impressive. West Virginia, when they beat West Virginia, was ranked. Texas Tech, when they beat them, they were ranked. When they beat Oklahoma State, they were ranked, just like when they beat Oklahoma, and they just beat TCU 23-10. Now, to me, looking at who they played so far, you beat a good Miami team, you beat Oklahoma, you beat West Virginia when they were ranked, you beat Texas Tech when they were ranked, and you beat Oklahoma State when they were ranked. To me, they justifiably have a case, in my eyes, for being in the BCS title game because of that. Now, of course, the last 2 games are at Baylor, which Baylor's not a, you know, a team. You know, they're 1-5, so there you go on that. It is what it is for that. But when they play Texas, who is ranked right now ranked 15, that's going to be the game that decides, do they get in or do they miss it? Simply because of the fact Texas is a whole lot better than they were earlier this year. And I'm saying it now to the Wildcat fans out there. Do not overlook Baylor. If you do what the Saints do, I mean not the Saints, the Falcons did on Sunday, you're going to lose. And don't be like Alabama either, who I think overlooked Texas A&M and it cost them. Concentrate on Baylor this week and then worry about the Texans. Texas Longhorns, man. I'm thinking NFL again. I apologize. So yeah, Kansas right now to me has the best argument for being number 1 and making it. But that's me. Now, Oregon Ducks, the quack, 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 who right now, depending who you ask, are either 3 or 2 respectively. And as in BCS, they're number 2. But if you look at their schedule, who they played, it's not that impressive. The only real teams they beat were Arizona, which was a murdering, Washington when they were ranked, which was another murder. When they played the Trojans, that's the only game they actually almost lost, and they just beat the living daylights out of the California Bears. That game was terrible to watch. Now, Oregon, yeah, those does play Stanford and Oregon State, so they got 2 ranked teams. But my problem with the Ducks is, and this is why I don't think they should be, they do have somewhat of a case for being in the title game, but not a big one, is if you look at who they first few games, Arkansas State is a joke, Fresno State's a joke, Tennessee Tech is a joke, and Washington State is a joke, and Arizona State and Colorado is a joke. The only good one, so I can't, because of that, if you beat Stanford and Oregon State, fine, you have a right to be number 2. But until then, I don't see it. And my biggest problem with the Ducks is excluding the Trojans game, they have not had a game where it's been close to where they actually had to come back and win it. That's another thing that does not impress me. We've seen them lead, but if it's in the 4th quarter and they're losing, can they come back and win? I don't know. And I don't know if we're going to know. Alright, last team. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, we've had a lot of blowouts. We blew Navy out. We blew Michigan State out. And we blew Michigan out to a degree. And we blew Miami out. But we've also won very close games as well. We beat Stanford in overtime. We beat BYU by 3. We beat Pittsburgh in 3 OTs. And we beat Boston. And we just beat Boston College and destroyed them. We also destroyed Oklahoma 30-13. Now, Fighting Irish do play Wake Forest and the Trojans coming up. Now, I like Notre Dame's schedule a little bit better than Oregon Ducks just because of the fact of, if you take a look at who we beaten, when we beat Michigan State and Michigan, they were both ranked. When we beat Stanford, they were ranked. When we beat Oklahoma, Oklahoma was 8th. So, and I think we're going to and we just destroyed Boston College. So we've had some games where we've won it when we've had to win it in overtime or in the 4th, or we've blown them out, which I think is a good thing because you want teams who can not only win blowout games but win it closely. Now, of course, Wake Forest is going to be a key Notre Dame needs a contract because you don't want to fall now. Get past Wake Forest, I think if we can beat the Trojans, good enough. And either the Ducks or the Wildcats fall, I think Notre Dame gets in. However, if Wildcats and Ducks don't lose, and it's a 3-way tie, as much as I hate saying it, I don't think Notre Dame gets in. Just because of the fact of Ducks are going to get in just because of what conference they're in and who they are. And I think Kansas State Wildcats will get in just because of no one saw them coming. Let's give them a shot. Which, granted, hey, I'd have no problem Wildcats getting in. I have no problem with that. I hope that happens. I'd rather see it be Notre Dame versus Wildcats because I can tell you this right now. No one thought those 2 teams would even be in it, and look what happens. Ducks, I don't think I'd be surprised if they got in. So that's just my opinion now. Now, hopefully you did enjoy my first Wide Water Sports things. If you did, hey, leave a like or comment. If you didn't, let me know why so I can do a better job next week. Now, of course, I will see you tomorrow for my NFL Week 11 picks, and I will see you later tonight for when I review my Resident Evil CGI film. So until then, you know who I am by now. I'm the DOUG signing out.